I held up one finger. How's it going, everybody? We are here. It is. There we go. It is a Sunday afternoon. Really happy to be bringing you another episode of the ranking. We are starting to wind down. We're doing the 40s today. Also, here in Ohio, it has been very wet and very humid, very rainy. It's actually thunderstorming a little bit right now. There was kind of a break in the action, and this was really my only time where I could stream today, so I'm giving it a go. If we cut out, that's why, and the power went out. I really hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to knock on all my wood. But we're here. Next episode of the ranking. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you like and make sure that you subscribe. Yeah, I'm actually really close to hitting a big watch hour milestone. So if you are watching this video, just watch the whole thing. Have it on in the background. Oof. I don't know if you can hear that thunder, but we might have some cool ambient background. Anyway, so here we're going to give a little recap of last episode. Here at number 60, we had Zekrom. At number 59, we had Reshiram, of course, just a little better in my opinion. At number 58, we had Typhlosion. At number 57, we had Tyranitar, two favorites, my two favorite ties. At 56, we had Crobat. 55, we had Blaziken. 54, we had Flareon, the first of the classic evolutions on our list. Let's see, 53, we had Latios and Latios. 52, we had Nidoking. 51, my goodness, it's scary outside. 51, we had Volcarona. 50, we had Metagross. Pray for us that we don't get the power knocked out. But we're here. All right, let's move on to number 49. Maybe this will be a quicker stream today because I'm so afraid. Anyway, at number 49, we have Sceptile, baby. A truly beloved starter. Sceptile's here at number 49. This was the highest of the Hoenn starters. It is funny, I included Sceptile and Blaziken quite high, but Swampert I did not include on the list. I decided to include Mudkip instead. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you guys think of that, but there's that. Anyway, Sceptile is a iconic Pokemon of Ash Ketchum. I know he had that like Trico Grovyle that would always have like the piece of straw in its mouth, and that was Sceptile's big personality. Oh boy, it's raining. Here, if you look at Ash Ketchum's win percentage, Sceptile is down here at 44%, but I know that Sceptile was used in a lot of major battles, I believe also in the Battle Frontier, which is very cool. Hopefully you can hear the rain. It gives you a little ambience here. So it was a huge Pokemon of Ash in the anime. It was Sceptile. Starter times 2. Starter in Gen 3 and the Gen 6 remakes, which we love to see. We have a Mega Evolution for Sceptile here. Sorry, this one's a little blurry. But this is Sceptile's Mega Evolution. It gains the Dragon type when you Mega Evolve it, which I think is very cool for it. It kind of gets on those legs and makes it feel more kind of like Raptor-ish, which I think is very cool. I like the huge tail. I think it looks super sick. I know this one can be a little bit polarizing for that reason, but I like the big kind of Christmas tree tail that it's got going on. I think it's really cool. Again, looks very prehistoric, very dinosaur-like, gives it that dragon type. I think it's super sick. I mean, iconic design. I think this is one of the favorite designs among Pokemon fans, I would argue. I know a lot of YouTubers love this Pokemon that I watch. And I feel as though, among the fandom, Sceptile is probably the favorite starter. It's very sleek. It's very cool. It is a member of Elite Four Drayton's team, which we really like to see. It is featured in Pokken Tournament, which is very, very awesome. But we have this Pokemon Generations feature. I wrote slicing up the magma base. And I'm going to see if I can find it. What do I have pulled up here? It might be like, it's not Nobody 2. Oh yeah, it's the Reggie music. Let me see if I can just pull up Sceptile. Wait, what was it? Was it Generations or... Okay, Generations. I would... Yes, the Vision. I really, really like this. Alright, let's pause you for now. There we go. Gosh, it is raining out, guys. Theater mode. Yes, that's going to look best for us. Oh my goodness, that was some crazy lightning. Holy crap. Oh, we're going. Okay, so I just wanted to show this off because this is so sick. Oh. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I will say, spoiler warning for any Pokemon game, in Pokemon Emerald, you have to go into Team Magma's base and stop them from awakening Groudon. It's kind of near Mount Chimney. And here in this Pokemon Generations episode, there's just this sick feature. You'll see. Oh, yes! That is so freaking awesome. Just that Sceptile slicing and dicing and making its way through the magma base. Here they're talking about their plan. And then you see Sceptile just destroying this Mightyena. Oh my gosh. And it just really feels, like what it would be like for a trainer and their Pokemon to really like infiltrate the evil team's base. Like, yeah, use that leaf blade to slice through the wall. Gosh, that's so freaking cool. I think about that so much when I think about Sceptile. I think it's really easy to kind of wrap your head around what makes Sceptile really cool. It's fast, it's sleek, that leaf blade. It's really, really awesome. I think Sceptile is a great Pokemon, and I think it is the best of the Gen 3 starters. So that's why I have it at number 49. Let's move on to number 48. And there we have Zoroark. Yes, as you can see, I included its original version in Generation 5 and its Hisuian form from Generation 8. I think its Hisuian form is, the best regional form of all time. I don't think too many people would argue with me on that one. It also gained the Ghost Normal type, which is something that had never existed before and something that is really unique and cool. It has that really kind of like Japanese folktale look, that kind of like evil fox look. It's so sick. The wispy hair, everything about it. It's a perfect design. Hisuian Zoroark, perfect design. But Zoroark was also a huge Pokemon when it was introduced in Generation 5 as well. So it had huge features in both of those generations, which is really, really cool. Hold on, I need me a drink of water. So here, as you can see, I have Generation 5 mascot. They really had Zoroark positioned as one of the key Pokemon, much like a Lucario would be for Gen 4, or like a Charizard for Gen 1, you know? Really cool. Obviously, I say regional form the best. It was the first Ghost Normal type, and I believe the only Ghost Normal type still, which is, I will say, a very cool typing because Ghost is super effective against itself, but Ghost does not affect normal types at all. So a Ghost Normal type would be a Ghost Pokemon that is immune to other Ghosts, which rocks. Let's see here. Oh, Pokemon Trainer N team member. You could argue that Zoroark is the notable team member of N. I think the only other Pokemon that N is more known for would be Zekrom or Reshiram. But there is a really interesting theory. I write right here. N is a Zoroark theory. That that N is actually a Zoroark in disguise because Zoroark has the ability to disguise itself, create illusions. And people think that because N has kind of like lived among Pokemon, that's kind of part of his backstory. They have similar hairstyle. I don't know if that is more. I mean, it's clearly a design choice. I don't know if it's because they wanted N to be a Zoroark or they wanted just them to be connected. Because N's whole thing is he's connected to his Pokemon, you know. Has an iconic signature ability, Illusion. In the Gen 5 games when Zoroark was introduced, and I mean, I suppose after that, Zoroark, if it was the front Pokemon in your party, it would appear as the back Pokemon in your party. So let's say, since Zoroark's a dark type, and you are facing a psychic type, maybe you want your Zoroark to be disguised as a fighting type, like an Emboar or something. So you have that psychic type trying to use psychic type moves on the fighting type Emboar, but it's not going to be effective at all because Zoroark's a dark type. That is kind of how you would use that. I know that's kind of, Pokemon Battling 101, but it was a really cool ability, a great signature ability for this Pokemon. Zoroark, Master of Illusions film. It has its own movie, which rocks. There is... Oh my gosh. This... I don't remember what it was called. I just wrote Art Rare. But this card... It was a Galarian Gallery card. This card from Crown Zenith for Hisuian Zoroark is just so sick. I love this card. Crown Zenith is one of the greatest Pokemon sets ever made, in my opinion. I think it's really cool, and I love the Legends Arceus games. It features a lot of the Legends Arceus game. Obviously, we played it on the channel. But it features a lot of those Pokemon. I love that. I do also want to say... there's Metagross. There is a Greninja and Zoroark tag team card that is also really, really cool. We have the alt-art version here. Oh, Zoroark and Greninja really go together like peanut butter and jelly. This card is so cheap. Can you believe that? I'm being facetious. It's insanely expensive. But that card is super sick, and Greninja is a great, great Pokemon as well. So Zoroark really, for me, its connection to N and its Hisuian form elevate it all the way up into the top 50. I think its Hisuian form is one of the greatest designed Pokemon ever, and I don't think many people would argue with me on that one, but love this Pokemon. It's at number 48. Let's keep rolling. Oh, let me get the music back up. Sorry. I played that video. I stopped our music. We need Morning in New Barktown going on. Let's roll. Number 47, we have Garchomp. Garchomp is one of the beloved pseudo-legendaries ever. It is the ace of Cynthia. You can certainly argue that it is the most iconic champion ace of all time. And not only that, you can actually run Garchomp realistically in a playthrough of Generation 4. You can get Gible early enough so that you can actually use it on your team, unlike a Tyranitar in Gen 2, for example. Garchomp is extremely iconic for those reasons, probably mainly. But there's a couple more things. Like I said, I think Garchomp's probably the most iconic champion ace of all time. There are arguments for others, but I think Cynthia is the most popular and iconic champion of all time. She's also very difficult. Not only that, Garchomp features as Cynthia's Super Boss ace in Generation 5. It is obviously her ace in Generation 4 and in the Generation 8 remakes, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. And whatever you think of those games, they make that Elite Four much tougher with more competitively balanced squads with items and whatnot. So Garchomp has, in terms of NPC, like story bosses, Garchomp has absolutely iconic difficulty. It's certainly one of the toughest that you will ever encounter in a casual playthrough of a Pokemon game. We have that iconic design. Making a Hammerhead Shark Pokemon, absolutely no-brainer. But making it a Land Shark, a Dragon Ground type, even more inspired. This design absolutely rules. Garchomp is so sick for that reason. It did receive a Mega Evolution, which we love, and it will certainly be featured in Legends ZA, I'm sure. Garchomp's Mega Evolution is a little bit disappointing just because it loses points in speed and gains them in attack. So it becomes even more extraordinarily powerful in its attacks, but losing that speed, people argue, hurts it more than it helps it. So we have kind of like the Scyther Arm Garchomp here for the Mega. Not one of my favorite Megas, but receiving a Mega Evolution from Game Freak is a big deal on your resume, according to me. And right here, great rarity and usable in a playthrough. I think they made Gible, it was the perfect sweet spot because you can get it after Badge 2 in Pokemon Platinum at least. And so you could realistically use it in a playthrough. But even though they do make it available, it does still have really nice rarity in a very specific area that you have to really go out of your way to find. So I think that's perfectly balanced, which is really great. I think Smith Plays Pokemon made a really cool video about that, about kind of the viability of pseudo-legendaries being able to be used in a playthrough, which is really, really great. Of course, can't mention Cynthia without mentioning Volo. It is the ace Pokemon of Volo's team, much like it is Cynthia. Those two characters are intrinsically connected forever, which gives Garchomp another great boss battle feature. It is also playable in Pokken Tournament, so Garchomp has been a beloved figure since its introduction in Generation 4, and we have a lot of nice art rare cards. Oh my goodness. I gotta tell a little story about this card. I love this Cynthia card from Hidden Fates. Now, Hidden Fates was an extraordinarily popular set when it debuted because it featured shiny Pokemon, and I really wanted this Cynthia card. And I randomly was able to find one Hidden Fates Elite Trainer box in a Barnes & Noble randomly for actual retail price. So we got it, and we opened it, and we got the Cynthia out of it, which is like, what are the odds? This is one of my most cherished cards in my collection. I love this card. Cynthia looks so cool, and of course you got Garchomp and Lucario looking menacing in the background. One of my favorite cards of all time. Super great memory with this one. But we also have some other good ones. We have this one from Lost Origin, another great Cynthia Garchomp card. They're always going to be connected to each other. Oh my goodness, those little stars popping out. Gosh, you'd love to see it. Really great menacing look there. Oh, and then Journey Together. Is it in Journey Together? No. I wrote Journey Together. That's incorrect. This is from Destined Rivals. Excuse me. But this Cynthia's Garchomp from Destined Rivals also absolutely rules. This is a set that I would really like to own more of, open more of, but it's really, really hard to get your hands on for anything, for any price that is considered reasonable. But Garchomp being up here this high is mostly due to being synonymous with Cynthia, who is arguably the most popular human character in the franchise. So Garchomp was always going to have a high placement. I decided on number 47 for the land Hammerhead Shark, and I think that's a good spot. So 47, we have Garchomp. Let's move along to number 46 rather. We have Pidgeot. Pidgeot is one of my favorite birds of all time. I absolutely love this Pokemon. It is the original regional bird. It is Bird Jesus itself. Pidgeot rocks. Love that hairstyle. It was a big featured Pokemon of Ash Ketchum. Not Pidgeot necessarily. Ash, for most of his journey through Kanto, has a Pidgeotto. But then at the end, it has that really nice episode in the anime where Pidgeotto finally evolves into Pidgeot, and then Ash decides to let it live amongst its Pidgey and Pidgeotto brethren in the wild. It's very, very nice, something that Ash was always very keen on doing, letting his Pokemon go and be with their own kind after he had had his journey with them. And I say connected to Pidgeotto as a big resume highlight because, again, Pidgeotto is more synonymous with Ash than Pidgeot is, but Pidgeot kind of absorbs that resume, so to speak. We have a Mega Evolution for Pidgeot, and of course, Pidgeot's Mega is going to accentuate that beautiful little hairstyle that it's got. I really, really like this Mega. I think it is simple and elegant. I think it adds to Pidgeot's design without, like, taking away from it. I think it's really, really good. I like this Mega a lot. Let's see. And as such, it is Champion Trace's. It is a team member of Champion Trace in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It is the Mega that he uses. I suppose you could argue that it is his ace Pokemon because it is the one that Mega evolves. So Pidgeot is not only featured on... Pidgeot is not only featured on Trace's team as its ace, kind of, but it's also featured in Blue's champion team in the OG games of Generation 1, Red, Blue, and then Fire Red, Leaf Green. And I say Gym Leader Blue team member, Rival Blue team member, because Blue keeps that Pidgeot when he becomes a Gym Leader, and when he is your rival, obviously all throughout Red and Blue and Green as well. Oh yeah, this Pidgeot and Pidgeotto once again are featured on Gym Leader Falconer's team in Generation 2 and Generation 4. More so Pidgeotto once again, but in the anime, Falconer is known for his hyper-fast Pidgeot, which is super duper cool. And just the fact that he uses exclusively this line of Pokemon for his OG Gym Leader team is really, really great. And then finally, the non-TCG resume point, we have Twitch Plays Pokemon. Pidgeot was known as Bird Jesus from the Twitch Plays Pokemon playthrough. For those of you that don't know what Twitch Plays Pokemon is, it was a kind of like hive mind playthrough that a bunch of different people were able to like try to play all at the same time on Twitch, which as you can imagine is nearly impossible. But somehow they were able to beat the game, and having a Pidgeot that they dubbed Bird Jesus was one of the keys to them beating the game, which is super cool and super fun, and kind of some underground cred for our boy Pidgeot here. Now, we have some great TCG cards. The two that I wanted to highlight for Pidgeot was this one from Expedition, just dive bombing that blood red. Oh, I love that card. One of my faves from the e-reader sets. But I gotta say right here, let's do this. Oh my goodness. When it comes to Pidgeot, this is the thing I think of. This could very well be my favorite card of all time in the Pokemon TCG. I love this artwork of Pidgeot. I think it is so cool. It's like, wow. And that old school holo is gorgeous. That blue, yellow, green background is gorgeous. I adore this illustration. It captured my imagination so much as a kid and continues to do so. I think it is elegant. I think it is cool. I think it's edgy. But, oh gosh, I love this Pidgeot card. Again, one of my favorite cards of all time. It is amazing. But you put all that together, and Pidgeot's got a very nice, well-rounded resume with huge anime features, historical relevance as a regional bird, great TCG representation, great NPC representation, and of course, that last little bit with Twitch Plays Pokemon. So that altogether gives us Pidgeot at level number 46. You love to see him. Oh, great Pokemon. All right, let's move on. Number 45. We have Melodic. Oh, for those of you that remember our Pokemon Emerald playthrough, Harry Jr., the Melodic. Melodic is, I think, an underrated design. I still think it is underrated as a design. I think it is both beautiful and cool. I love the design of this Pokemon. It was the ace Pokemon of Wallace. That is one of its big resume points. So it was the ace Pokemon of a gym leader twice in Generations 3 and 6, and it was also the ace Pokemon of a champion in Pokemon Emerald as Wallace took over for Steven in that third version, but also gets a huge feature on Champion Cynthia's team. So Melodic is featured twice on Champion teams, which is really, really awesome, one of them being Cynthia, and also gets a great feature on a Frontier Brains team with Lucy in the Battle Pike in Pokemon Emerald, which absolutely rocks. One thing that I think that I had forgotten is that it is featured on Lucamine's team in Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is really, really cool. I love Lucamine as a character. I love Pokemon Sun and Moon as games. I think they are the most underrated Pokemon games. So I wanted to shout that out. Obviously, we talk about iconic rarity, iconic evolution method. You all know, if you watch me play Emerald, you have to find those very special tiles on that one river outside of Four Tree City. It's also very similar in Generation 4, where you have to find specific tiles in Mount Coronet. And then you got to increase that beauty. You got to make that dirty, ugly fish Feebas, you got to make it pretty. For it to finally evolve into the beautiful Melodic. Oh, so great. I feel like Melodic is underrated because just pointing out all those NPC features is really, really great. Some really, really strong features there. Let's see. Ooh, we have a couple great cards here. There's this EX card. I want to say this is from Deoxys, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what EX set this is from the Gen 3 era. But this card is absolutely beautiful. I know it's one of the chase cards in one of those old sets, which is super cool. But here, I want to kind of connect this. Let's see. This card from Surging Sparks is so gorgeous to me. And it reminds me of the stage in New Pokemon Snap, where Melodic is one of the boss encounters that you have. Melodic is kind of popping out of the water in a forested area, and it looks so regal and so beautiful and cool, and you have to make sure you catch the perfect shot as it hops out of the water. And that's what this card reminds me of. This card is actually connected to a Feebas illustration where Feebas is like down below in the water and Melodic is kind of triumphantly leaving the water. I absolutely adore this card. I think it is gorgeous, and it reminds me of one of my favorite parts of New Pokemon Snap, which is a very great and underappreciated game on the Switch. You all should play it. Let's see. Let me take a drink of my water. Something I don't have written here is Melodic actually gets a really nice feature in the DLC of Scarlet and Violet. When you go to Kitakami, there is the Crystal Pool area, where you can encounter Feebas down below, and you get to encounter a Melodic as a part of the story, which is really nice. It's like a nice, quaint little side quest thing, but another great feature for Melodic. But right here, I put Nessa Anime featured Twilight Wings. I'm going to try to find Twilight Wings Nessa. Now, if we go here, there is this episode of, I don't know if you all have watched this, but this was kind of like some episodes of like special episodes of the Pokemon anime that they made exclusively for YouTube. It was called Twilight Wings. It was in the Generation 8 era. I actually really, really love it. And I'm going to skip forward just a little bit because there is part of this episode. Oh, wait, no, I'm on the wrong episode. But here we go. Let's just do that. You get some backstory on Nessa, who is one of the great characters from Generation 8. She's one of the gym leaders. And in canon, she is a model. And here in this episode of Twilight Wings, she is hanging around with Feebas, as you can see. And she finally gets to swim down into the water. And she gets to encounter the gorgeous Melodic. As you can see, she takes a beautiful picture flying out of the water, just like that. And there they are, Nessa and Melodic. Melodic is kind of synonymous for beauty in the Pokemon franchise. And Nessa, being a beautiful model character, gets to feature alongside Melodic in this beautiful little anime short. I highly recommend that you watch the Twilight Wings episode of the YouTube exclusive Pokemon anime. It's very, very cool. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. Man, I love anime, man. Love the art style. Perfect. Let's go back. Great. You put all that together. We have Melodic. I think Melodic could be even higher on this list, but it's above some heavy hitters like Garchomp and Pidgeot, but I think it is well deserved here. Y'all know I love it. So let's go ahead and move on to number 44. Excuse me. We have Magikarp. Speaking of Melodic, we have Magikarp. Magikarp is as iconic of a Pokemon as they come. It is known for being weak and pathetic, but then finally overcoming its weakness and evolving into the fearsome and majestic Gyarados. Tale as old as time. Magikarp is absolutely iconic. It features in almost every Pokemon game. It is undoubtedly one of the 50 greatest Pokemon of all time. So again, I mentioned here, in every Pokemon game, essentially. I can't really think of one where Magikarp and Gyarados are not in there in some capacity. Iconic lore and design concept, I talked about it a little bit. Magikarp is kind of based on an old Japanese tale of a carp or a koi fish, I think, that makes its way up a waterfall, and when it finally does, it is able to evolve into the powerful dragon that it was always meant to be, and that is represented in Gyarados. And of course, being connected to Gyarados, one of the iconic Pokemon of all time, is going to be huge for Magikarp's resume. I have here the Scam Magikarp in yellow in the anime. I'll start with the anime. In that beautiful little arc in the original anime where they go on the SS Anne, James of Team Rocket is scammed into buying a Magikarp. And they include that in Pokemon Yellow. Right outside of Mount Moon, you can buy a Magikarp from somebody. I believe we actually used that Magikarp in our Yellow playthrough, if I recall correctly. But that is an iconic gift moment for Magikarp. It has an iconic signature move in Splash. Splash is a move that literally does nothing. And absolutely nothing. And it is synonymous with Magikarp because Magikarp is pathetic and can do nothing. It's beautiful, in a way. We talk about doofy mascots here, goofy mascots on this list, and Magikarp is among the chief goofy mascots. There was also a special Z move for Splash. I don't remember what it did, so forgive me. Let me know in the comments. But Splash got a special Z move in Generation 7. I have a goofy mascot here. I really like this. It has some great TCG features. There's two that I really want to highlight, and they're old and new. Here, I absolutely love this Arita art in the OG Pokemon base set. As you can see, it is Shadowless First Edition. I love this artwork of Magikarp. I think it's super, super cool. Again, really captures the imagination, and it's in the OG base set, which is awesome. But it also got an illustration rare in Paldea Evolved in the Scarlet and Violet set, Paldea Evolved. It is crazy awesome. You can see Gyarados there at the top, which I never really noticed. But this Magikarp art has become an iconic modern Pokemon card, and it has become quite expensive. Really, really cool. I wish I would have picked one up when they were cheaper, but alas, I say that about a lot of cards on here. So Magikarp has an iconic TCG feature in the very OG set and one of the newer sets, which is really cool for it. Now, featured in Pokemon Snap, iconic evolution method. So, in the OG Pokemon Snap, and we will play this on the channel at some point, you had to knock a Magikarp out of the water on the river level, and then you had to knock it, like, over the mountain. And once you got back around past where the mountain is, you would see that same Magikarp, like, flopping on the land, and then you would have to knock it in the water. And that Magikarp would finally make its way into the waterfall, where it would evolve into Gyarados, and Gyarados would jump out of the waterfall and spit water at you. It was so cool, and probably the best example of unlocking those fun little moments in that OG Pokemon Snap game that made that game so charming. Gosh, I have to shout that out. I love that Magikarp into Gyarados moment in the OG Pokemon Snap. So great. It's featured in the Detective Pikachu film. Of course, they want to give a lot of the iconic Pokemon great moments in that movie. In the movie, Magikarp is just flopping around, useless, but then it evolves into Gyarados, and it just washes everybody out of where they are. It's kind of funny. But the last thing was, it's the Team Rocket vehicle. Jesse, James, and Meowth, whenever they were underwater in their submarine was just a big Magikarp, which is super charming. And again, Magikarp is the rags to riches story of Pokemon. It has a lot of great lore and Japanese lore within its design. It is maybe the goofy mascot, or at least one of the top ones, and it is absolutely pervasive in the Pokemon games. It's a lot like Geodude, a lot like Zubat. I think it is very deserving of a spot here at number 44. So let's keep rolling. At number 43, we have Vaporeon, the second of our iconic evolutions to feature on the list. We have Vaporeon here at number 43. It's in that iconic original Eevee trio of Vaporeon, Flareon, and Jolteon. It is an evolution, obviously. I think its design is really clever, incorporating both the mammalian and the aquatic. It's kind of like, it's like a mermaid cat, which is such a cool idea. Like, I think they could not have made Eevee turn into a better looking water type Pokemon. I think it's unique. I think it's creative without looking too outlandish. I think they found a way to make like a cute fox Pokemon look kind of like a fish, but it not look weird. I love Vaporeon's design. Very great. It, like Flareon and Jolteon, gets a holo in Jungle. Love this holo. Oops. Really cute. Really simple, but I think it just captures the imagination. I love that. Let's move back here. So it'll have a lot of the same resume points as Flareon. It is featured with the Kimono Girls. I think that must be a weird autocorrect thing, because I think that was on Flareon as well. There we go. Featured with the Kimono Girls and the Sages of the Tin Tower. The evolutions are kind of sacred in Ecruteak City in that way, and a lot of people have argued that Vaporeon is maybe what Suicune was before it was resurrected. There is some credence to that theory. It is a possible member of Champion Hao's team in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which is great, and it is a possible champion of Blue in Pokemon Yellow specifically, which we love to see. Team Star Boss Penny. Penny has a team of entirely evolutions, and Vaporeon was lucky to make the cut. Only a couple of those evolutions did not make it onto her team. We have iconic modern promos here for Vaporeon. Oh my gosh. You know, a lot of people point out the Vaporeon V Max as being better than this card, but I love this Vaporeon card. It's so cute. Just those little leaves above it, just all curled up. The sun. Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. But I do need to point out the Vaporeon V Max card. These were both featured as promos in English. Not that one. Yeah, this one right here. I find this to look a little better than the V Max, but a lot of people love the V Max. I mean, it is really cool. It's just big Vaporeon under the water, which is cool. Oops, there's Melodic again. But gosh, this artwork is so gorgeous to me. And then we have a Gold Star card for Vaporeon as well. Oh my gosh. Getting a Gold Star card is one of the rarest things you can get as a Pokemon in the TCG. You really don't see many Pokemon getting some of those. But Vaporeon is really buoyed by being one of the OG evolutions. The evolutions are just one of the great designs ever in terms of Pokemon. Even just further with the TCG, them having sets revolving around them, like Evolving Skies and Prismatic Evolutions, is super huge for them. They're just always going to be pervasive in the franchise, and they're always going to be around because they're so cool and so cute at the same time. So at 43, we have Vaporeon. Let's move to 42, where we will see Jolteon just above Vaporeon. This might be a little bit biased on my part, but I think there is certainly an argument to have Jolteon as the highest of the original 3 evolutions. I think it is the best design. It is sleek. It is cool. I think it is just a little better represented in terms of NPC teams. Specifically, you will see it on Volkner's team in Pokemon Platinum. In other ways, you'll see it as a possible ace for Blue in Pokemon Yellow, and of course, a possible ace for Trace in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, I believe. Oh, what's up, Brannington? Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you. I am glad you agree with me on this one. It is, I think, my favorite of the original 3 as well. Oh my gosh, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is so, so good. I want to play that on the channel for sure. Highly recommend for all of you. But Jolteon's going to have a lot of the same resume as Vaporeon, but it'll have those other just little notches above it. I think the design is a little better. I think the fact that it is a champion ace with Trace and featured on Volkner's team in Platinum really kind of sets it a stage above. I also think that it does have the best holo of the 3 OG evolutions in Jungle. I think this one is just a little bit more dynamic and cool. I love this OG art for Jolteon. Oh, gosh, man. I mean, I'm a sucker for the OG arts, right? I grew up with them, but I think they're so, so strong. Also featured on Penny's team in, whatchamacallit, Scarlet and Violet. I exited out of TCG Player. Let's see. Oops. That's not what I wanted, I guess. There we go. Sorry. I want to show you Jolteon's VMAX card. Because, again, this one also had an iconic VMAX promo. I think this is super cool. Vaporeon kind of causing a thunderstorm. Maybe it was causing the thunder that was happening earlier. My gosh, that was crazy. But if you look here as well, this was also a promo that came with that VMAX promo. I like this one even more. Again, I like the regular V promos of the OG3 Evolutions. It's like running up a building over the night skyline. I think that's so cool. Gosh, I love those promos. But this might be my favorite of all of them. That and the Vaporeon, I think. The Vaporeon V, that is. And then, of course, Jolteon also getting its own Gold Star card here. Jolteon always looking fast, always looking dynamic. But, again, what's really going to put Jolteon over Vaporeon specifically, and obviously Flareon, is those extra features on gym leader teams. And I think the best design of the three. Again, it might just be my personal taste, but I think a lot of Pokemon fans enjoy designs that are not over-designed, but really, really work. And I think Jolteon's a great example of that. So, at number 42, we have Jolteon. Love to see it. Oh my gosh, the Gold Star is so good, Brandington. Yes. Man. Gosh, so good. Anyway, let's move on to number 41 on our list. We have Arceus. Arceus is the god Pokemon. I mean, you could argue it could be higher for that reason, but just being the god Pokemon in lore is a huge, huge thing for it. It has its iconic event encounter. I talked about this a little bit in our Legends Arceus playthrough, but to recap, you could get the Azure Flute, you could play it at the Spear Pillar, and that would unlock the stairway to heaven, so to speak, and you would encounter Arceus above the Spear Pillar. That was a distribution event that was not available to English players, I believe, in the OG Gen 4 games, but they were able to kind of reincorporate that into Pokemon Legends Arceus, which we love to see. So cool. That event encounter and its kind of reintroduction to the world in Legends Arceus is so great. It, of course, is the namesake of Pokemon Legends Arceus. It is not the box art legendary because it's not featured on the box art. Certainly could have been. One of the great boss fights in Pokemon, with that Pokemon Legends Arceus boss fight, I think that one is really, really great. When you get to encounter it there in kind of celestial heaven above the Spear Pillar. It's a mythical Pokemon. The Sinjoh Ruins cutscene. Now, this was something special in the Gen 4 remakes of Generation 2, where Arceus could produce an egg of Dialga, Palkia, or Giratina. And in that cutscene, it was really, really weird. You would see, like, images of the real world and, like, the unknown swirling around Arceus. And I love that theory of the unknown being, like, the 1,000 arms of Arceus, kind of, like, holding the fabric of the Pokemon world together itself. And you have that great cutscene, and then Arceus will produce that egg of one of the creation Pokemon, one of the god Pokemon. Just so steeped in lore is Arceus in Gen 4 in a way that is so fun. And I talk here about the Dialga and Palkia origin forms and how that's connected to Arceus. I'm going to try to point this out a little bit. Let's go here. So if we look at Dialga's origin form here, you can see that little cross thing across its body is very similar to what Arceus has going on. It also has a little bit more of that deer-like appearance with Arceus. You'll see it as well here with Palkia's origin form, another kind of like binding ring around its center. It is four-legged now, much like Arceus, and that is like, it's kind of like the origin forms of Dialga and Palkia being more connected to Arceus and them being like extensions of Arceus's power, which is super cool to me. And there, yeah, you can see that binding on Arceus's body there. And I talk about the connections to the unknown. The idea that they introduced in Legends Arceus I talked about, where this Pokemon is not Arceus, it is just the Pokemon form that it chooses to take. It's the form that it chooses to take so that we can perceive it, which I think is so cool. I love that so much. It's one of the great lore Pokemon of all time. And oh my gosh, such a great mod, Brandington. Completely agree. Importance as well. Importance is a big thing. Let's see here. Yes, we got a great illustration rare here in Crown Zenith. I suppose Glorian Gallery you would call it. That beautiful gold Dialga, because it was Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina created like a kind of like a Michelangelo-like tapestry in Crown Zenith. Love that card so much. Also have this really nice promo card around that era with Arceus just prancing around the skies above Hisui and Mount Coronet. I love this card very much. But a couple like low-key things. You have a Spear Pillar stage in Smash Brothers. I think it was introduced in Brawl for the Wii, if I'm not mistaken, where you could fight at the Spear Pillar and Arceus could appear. Dialga and Palkia would also appear and do weird stuff with the stage, which was really, really cool. And lastly, Arceus gets a shout-out in the TV show House, where Dr. House references Arceus, and they're just like, what are you talking about? He's like, look it up. And it's referring to the Pokemon Arceus, the god of all Pokemon. So you put all that together, and Arceus has really helped to capture the imagination of Pokemon fans since it was introduced in Generation 4, but having its own game in Pokemon Legends Arceus, a game that I think stacks up as one of the greatest Pokemon games of all time, really puts Arceus high on the list, and that's why we see it here at number 41. Really, really cool. So finally, let's finish off this segment of the list with number 40. We're getting into the top 40 now. We have Lapras. Oh, Lapras is such a beautiful, simple, and elegant designed Pokemon. Lapras, of course, is the ace Pokemon of Lorelei in Generation 1 and Generation 3 and Generation 8. And let's go, never forget that. Oh, I remember when Lorelei rides on her Lapras and she shows up to thwart Team Rocket in Let's Go. Oh, and of course when she's just sitting on it when you enter her Elite Four room in Let's Go. Lapras has a lot of great aura in that game. I feel like that's kind of underrated, but Lapras, of course, being one of the iconic gift Pokemon, it personifies Surf, especially in the early games. Lapras is just so great. I love this Pokemon. But let's keep talking about it. I talked about Lorelei a bunch. It's a great ace Pokemon for an Elite Four member. When you think of surfing, you think of Lapras. You're so right. You're so right, Brandington. Lapras also gets a nice feature on Champion Iris's team in Black 2 and White 2, which is really, really nice. It's an iconic gift Pokemon. It is gifted to you in the Sylph Company in Generation 1, which is really, really nice because that's about the time you're going to start getting Surf, and they want to feature the Surf Pokemon in Lapras. Now, I'm talking about its gift status in Generation 1. I also have here a great static encounter in Generation 2. In Generation 2, if you go to the deepest depths of Union Cave only on Friday, that is the only place you can encounter Lapras in Generation 2. It uses the Day of the Week feature that they implemented in Gen 2, and it's also just a cool, rare encounter for a Pokemon that's really, really strong and really, really good, specifically in Generation 2, because it's a strong Ice type against that Dragon-type champion. Really cool implementation there and just game design, which we love to see. Featured Pokemon of Ash Ketchum. Ash gets his Lapras in the Orange Island, surfs around the Orange Islands on his Lapras, solidifying it as the surf Pokemon. And as such, Red gets a Lapras on his team in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. In the OG Gen 2 games, Red has an Espeon, but in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they thought it more represented Ash and Red if he used a Lapras instead. I like Espeon, but I get it. Especially considering in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, that Red fight begins with Hail, so Lapras can do well in the Hail. We're talking about being a Surf HM mascot. In Gen 2, when you surf on the water, your icon literally becomes a Lapras. Like, that is no greater evidence than that. It is the ace Pokemon of Gym Leader Melanie, only in Pokemon Shield. And as such, it gained a Gigantamax form in Generation 8. It has that kind of beautiful, like, musical staff kind of hovering around it, and that big, powerful shell. I mean, Lapras is not one of my favorite Gigantamaxes, but getting a Gigantamax is a good vote of confidence. And a nice ace Pokemon for Melanie in Sword and Shield. Featured in Pokemon Snap. I actually really like this one. In the first area, the beach area of Pokemon Snap, you can see Lapras way out in the distance. But the more pictures you take of it, the closer it will get to you as you go throughout the stage. So if you want to get a really good picture of Lapras, you got to take a lot of pictures of it far away so it will pop up really close to you and you can get that good close picture of Lapras. I always loved that in the OG Pokemon Snap. They got really fun and creative with the implementation and interactivity of you and the Pokemon with that game, especially for like a Nintendo 64 game. Talk about its oh no, you didn't see that. Talk about its Fossil Hollow. This is really great, just a nice Sugimori art. I like this art of Lapras because it doesn't look as kind of like calm and serene as it usually does. It's a little more dynamic and kind of fierce, which I think is really, really cool. Any OG Wizards of the Coast artwork is going to be great for me. And then, of course, we have Misty's Lapras here. Oh, this is a new one. This is in Destined Rivals as well. That is such a great set, Destined Rivals. But here is the serene side of Lapras, just resting by the beach, and Misty having a nice little rest alongside it. The artwork is so good, dude. Like, really, if you just, like, I think Destined Rivals is one of the best modern sets that they've made in recent memory, because it has all of those great Team Rocket cards as well, because you have a Misty's Lapras and a Misty's Psyduck, both absolutely rule, man. This artwork is gorgeous, super cute, and you gotta love Misty. Come on now. And, of course, it has an iconic design. It is, like, I like to call it serene. It is like, feminine, but also cool. And it's literally a giant pool floaty. Pokemon Center, I believe, sells a giant pool floaty of Lapras. Let me see if I can find it. Or at least I'm pretty sure that Pokemon Center does. Do you guys want to have a laugh and see if there's any trading cards available? Let's see. Lapras Pool Float. Oh, no products were found. Okay, so maybe that was something that they don't sell anymore. But they definitely did, I promise. They sold like a giant Lapras Pool Floaty. I'm going to see, is there any Destined Rivals available? I was about to say, guys, if any of these did not say sold out, you were literally about to see me buy some Destined Rivals. But alas, they're always sold out. What can you do? But you put all that together, Lapras is a deeply iconic Pokemon. Great Elite Four ace, great champion team member, one of the iconic water Pokemon of Generation 1 and iconic water Pokemon of all time. Features all throughout the series, great TCG features. Lapras is undeniable, one of my favorite Pokemon, one of my favorite designs, and it is the first entry in our top 40 of the 151 greatest Pokemon of all time. But with that, folks, we're going to call it an episode. I was so happy to get through the 40s with you today. We only have a couple more episodes left. And if you watched this video, you will see that I accidentally spoiled number 39, but we won't talk about it until next episode. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Brandington. I appreciated talking with you. If you're watching this on YouTube, again, leave a comment. Tell me why what I'm wrong about. Tell me what I'm right about. Go ahead and like the video as well. And I will see you guys the next time I see you. I'll probably actually be live tomorrow with more Kingdom Hearts. So that'll be really, really fun. I hope you all have a great week. My summer vacation is kind of winding down. And I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can, and I appreciate you all being a part of it. I appreciate you all sharing my joy. So thank you once again. Have a great week. Have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.